Welcome back to another episode of the Pilots of the Caribbean podcast, where we talk about everything drones in the Caribbean and the people that use them. Now, in today's episode, we heading across to the sister isle, Tobago. And I'm going to be talking to the operators of Island Girl Tours TT, Anna and David. And we're also going to be getting into, Island Girl Tours in general and Anna's journey into the drone world. Enjoy. Hey, Anna and David, welcome to the podcast. How are you guys going?
We are good.
We're good, man. How are you?
Not too bad. For the persons that are not familiar with you guys, how about you guys introduce yourself to the audience?
You want to start?
Okay. Well, my name is David Raj Paul Singh. Was born in Trinidad, and I left as a teenager to go to Canada, and I lived there for 25 years, and then moved back to Tobago to do Island Girl Tours. Right. The company was registered around 2016, Feb 2016, and I did some research, and I was trying to learn Tobago, in that time. And then around 2017, started to get a few guests, which rolled into 2018. And then a particular guest of mine in my Airbnb at that time, girl from Kentucky, she was a website builder. She was so impressed with what I was doing. So she said, David, you need to bake this up. You need to have a website. You need to do this. I'm like, really? I need to get on social media. I'm like, no way, I'm not doing that. She's like, you have to, or it's not going, it's not going to work. So she helped me. Her name is Paige. And it was officially, the Instagram was officially born March 2019. Right. And that's where, so I started to get a lot of bookings and and then Anna came in later on. And here we are almost 10 years later, Island Girl Tours and husband and wife doing their thing, and it's an amazing experience and an amazing venture, because I wanted to bring customer service
to
what it is we do, right? I wanted it to be focused on the customers. So we created customized story. We don't really do big groups unless the groups are a family or a office for a team building. We don't do strangers on a bus. We like it to keep it intimate and stuff. And we cater to people what they want, and we show them the most beautiful parts of Tobago, which is everywhere, and the hidden gems and the waterfalls and the, it's just an amazing life. Right?
Nice one. So you were the original Island Girl.
Technically,
no. The original Island Girl, and I have to credit her, was my ex-wife, and she is the one that came up with Island Girl Tours.
Okay.
Right? When we were coming down, I said, what would we call this company? And she said that. And it was free to register, and we actually got the domain www.islandgirltours.com. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Such a generic name, you think somebody else in the world has it, because there's Island Girl Tours everywhere, So we're lucky there.
That's cool.
We've been quietly doing this since then. And, we hooked up with Alan, Trini Surfer.
Alan Charles.
So we did that tour and everything. And he's doing his own now. And it's just Tobago life with my wife. She got the drone. Let her tell you that story. And it's just, it really is an experience that we totally love. Doing what we're doing, living here and doing what we do, we really love it.
That's a nice one. What kind of services do you guys offer?
Well, we created something called the Grand Circle Island Experiences. Mm-hmm. So it's our three main tours are the Grand Circle Island Experience, the 8-hour all-inclusive experience, and then the 12-hour dawn to dusk tour, which is our best tour. Like, I didn't think people would book a tour being picked up 6 a.m. and being dropped off. But foreigners love it because they get all of Tobago. They get water, they get everything. So if they have the endurance, it's the best experience for somebody who wants to experience Tobago all in one day, right? And then if they stay for longer, they could go back to places they like and stuff. And then Anna one day said, well, let's up this a bit. What about the 24-hour island experience? So we took some time to curate it and design it, and we have it now. We haven't promoted it yet. We've just been telling people when they book, when they call us, and some people have been booking and they love the experience. It's basically you get picked up and you're with us for 24 hours, right? So it is, in effect, it's a camping tour because you're doing all the touring in the day, and then at night we camp and we cook for you, and we have the tent, music, the ambience, bonfire, beach, forest, whatever. And it's really meant for people. It's a bespoke creation for people with endurance and who want something different, right? It's not for people who need 8 hours sleep. And, it's somebody say, hey, honey, we're in Tobago for 2 days. Let's do this, right?
Yeah, on vacation, it's time to pause.
Whatever, right? But, so there's that kind of rogue renegade travelers out there, and that's what we want, because it's really a thing we did to connect with people and also to spend more time together.
Understood. How has that worked out in terms of the 24-hour tour? Have you guys seen a lot of positive responses from it?
Well, honestly, right now, the ones we've been doing has been more honing it and hearing feedback. And all the feedback has been positive, right? But we were just tweaking, right? When we started off, we had a certain parameters to follow, and then we realized we had to change them because, doing 24 hours is not easy, right? And it's not easy on the guests too, depending on what time they're picked up or whatever. So we changed it and we altered it that we want to, the pickup time is in the morning, right? Originally we had said anytime you get picked up, it's 24 hours, but it works out if it's the morning.
Yeah.
Right? So they get to see all of Tobago in the day and then have an amazing experience at night. Right? And it's worked out so far. Actually, is from next week, we want to start promoting it and pushing it.
Okay.
And then we also have one of my original tours, the Hidden Gems tour, the Off the Beaten Path. That is a very special tour because people love to go and see things they don't even know existed. Right? And we have a waterfall store, right? And then and we have a very, very, very special tour. We've only done it 3 times. It's not a tour, it's an experience. And we don't think we're promoting this one because it's a very touching, heartfelt, connecting sort of experience in the forest. It's something we designed to take people into the forest and have a true earth experience by a river, right? Where we actually, I do some qigong, some tai chi. We do breathing, meditation, some drumming, right? If the mood takes us, some chanting. It's just a sort of nature binding experience.
Yeah. A well-rounded spiritual experience that you get to connect with yourself and reconnect to the earth. I know now it's a trend to say grounding, but in the word that I don't particularly like because they put more meaning to it, in the word itself, it's truth. You need to reconnect. That's why we have so much depression going on. We have so much illnesses going on. People have forgotten to take off their shoes and feel the soil under their feet. They've forgotten where they come from. They've forgotten that connection with the trees, with fruits, all of that energy that surrounds the forest that is the life-giving. That is what this tour is for. And
we also believe that we are not separate from that. So, there's this idea that, separation is what drives everything, but nothing is separate. Everything is one. And if you understand that, the forest, you're not going there to heal. You're going there to become the forest, right? And the forest is you. And it's healing naturally from that. It's a whole weird concept, but you really have to experience it to know what we're talking about. So there's that one. And we had a lot more tours, but we kind of, as I said, we kind of
just
took some of them out of it, right? We kind of muted some for the time being because we want to focus on these.
Yeah, understood. That's nice, man. The next time I come across is Tobago, to come and check out the tour with you guys.
Oh my gosh, yes, you have so much fun.
Yeah, but the thing about it, Tobago is really undiscovered. What I mean is there's very few people that know what this island has, especially that main rich forest.
Mhm.
It has almost 10,000 acres of pure beauty, and 90% of it is undiscovered or untraversed.
Okay.
Everybody goes to the same places, Argyle Falls and all the bordering, villages have falls and whatever. But you go deep into that forest,
Mhm.
it's like a Tolkien fantasy. It's like you go somewhere else.
There are some places that really transport you into, I don't know if you've seen Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit.
Yes. Yeah.
You're basically there.
Yeah, and
It's really nice.
Okay.
again, way more waterfalls than anybody would expect. Right? I push it
Nice
over
one.
100 and counting.
Serious.
Yeah. Like you would, if I tell you, I have heard from hunters,
Mhm.
right, that Tobago has close to 200 waterfalls. I haven't verified that. I know I've done more than 100, and I know there's 150, right? But
Oh.
nobody has gone that deep in, and except hunters and
Yeah.
village boys, right?
Yeah.
People don't really go in that much. And when you do find something, it's just, you turn up corner and you're like, oh my goodness.
Mhm.
Right? And we just recently discovered another one, and it's, like a guest wanted to go right away when they saw it. Right? And it's a beautiful step waterfall. And if you see, the pool is gorgeous. It's just amazing. So that's my thing. I love waterfalls. I will go search for a waterfall every time, I have some time.
And then you save them so you can get back to them. You have like a GPS. You have like a GPS market or something. You
I
put.
just use memory.
Okay.
Yeah. I am not the technical one like my wife.
Right.
I go in the forest just like this without shoes. I don't even take water.
No, I didn't.
I don't even take a cutlass. I just go in, Again, grounding. I've been doing this because I love how it feels. And then later,
All right.
people say, oh, you're grounding. And I said, what? I've been barefoot since I started this story.
And I remember the first guest to ask David, oh, you're grounding. That is so cool. And he is like, what is grounding? It's a natural thing for him.
But no, there is merit afterwards when you think about it. That's what I was doing, but for the love of it. It wasn't to go, there was a natural thing for me. It always has been. Because when I'm in the forest, I feel that energy. I honestly feel it from the river, from the rocks, right? From the dead leaves, When I go in there with shoes, I get annoyed. So I have to,
Well, sorry, during COVID, so do you know Gilpin Trails, in Tobago is made with forest?
No, I'm not familiar.
It's a really nice trail. So how long, maybe 7 kilometers?
Yeah, it depends on how long you go. It could be between 7 and 9, depending on which exit you take.
Okay. So there's 3 of us going in for this hike. There was David, myself, and another one of our guides, Kristen, who comes along with us a lot. And the sole mission of this particular hike was for him to discover any waterfall in there that hasn't already been mapped out. So we started the hike, and he had on sneakers. And then an hour in, he's like, guys, stop. This is not working. He took off his shoes. He stuck it in a hole in the wall, and he continued the rest of the way barefoot. Went back into the forest the day after, hiked in for the hour, got his shoes, and came back.
We're doing the whole trail, so we couldn't come back, right?
Right.
I didn't even know why I put on shoes that day. Something else was going on in the morning. I have no idea why I was wearing shoes. And then I realized, this is not working. I was like, oh, shucks, I'm wearing shoes. So no, Tobago, like that forest, if you come up, you have to experience it. Next time I come up.
I'm not a person that likes forests, but the way you guys make it sound, I'm willing to try.
Yeah. But you can go and do it. You have to go deep. There's a lot of waterfalls and stuff. There's 20 minutes in and stuff.
We've had people who are not so much into the forest who tag along with their friends.
Mm-hmm.
And we've taken them through the Gilpin Trail, and it was good for them because it was not too much, but it was enough that they felt the energy of the forest just rejuvenate them just for that 2-3 hours.
So to bring everything for a conclusion, Island Girl Tours will do any experience you want, right? We will create it for you. We've had overnight turtle picnics, waiting for turtles to come up. Where we spread blankets on the beach and we have music because you don't know when turtles gonna come, right?
Yeah.
So, the tour is let's spend a few hours and just chill any night. And, people love that too. And you make them some pila or some bacon bulojol or something and a bottle of wine. Yeah. So we've had requests for really weird things that people want to do. And if we can do it, we do it. So somebody called me once and I just take me deep into the bush and come back for me for 4 hours. But make sure nobody comes because I'm going to be naked. I'm like, all right.
Right.
People do, and so we will try to accommodate and, create or design, even if somebody has an idea and they're not sure about it. We've had many people with their 60th anniversaries. David, what can you do? I want to be special for my wife. And then we create something for them, It doesn't matter what the group, graduations, right? Birthdays, right? We have, and so the 12-hour tour is themed. You can have it however you like it. You could be a foodie. I want the store to focus on food. I want to focus on waterfalls. I want to focus more on the store. It could be whatever you prefer, but you're still getting everything else, right? We're just going to focus on what you want the most.
Saturday tour.
So somebody booked the other day and they say it's my mom's 60th birthday. So that was a birthday theme. So they did the whole island, but the theme was birthday. So we celebrated her. She had cake, ice cream, she had the applaud, she had a wreath over her head, a lace, sorry, I saying wreath. So it's just to give people that, see, I traveled a lot. I realize, the places that do tourism well, it's because they love it, right? They love it. And when you have that love, it just falls out there,
Yeah, it's not just a job for them.
Yeah, it's not a job. And if this ever becomes a job, I will leave it. This has to be play. And
you guys do this full time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We do other things, right? I'm a writer, musician, martial artist. We love the dogs. We do, and she's an artist as well, a henna artist. Now she's doing the drone. She makes crafts, bags. We go to markets and Anna's doing henna on people. And we kind of put everything into this lifestyle.
Yeah.
So like the last 24-hour tour, the girls got their henna, right? As part of the tour because they wanted henna. So, so whatever you want, we will create.
Do you guys get a lot of local customers or is predominantly international?
It was always international. When we worked with Alan a bit, we got some local because, he's very famous in Trinidad and Tobago. So people saw that.
Right.
But now the international market is our preferred clients, not for anything other than we like the wow factor that people get when they come here. Because, Trinity's great but they know Tobago, right? So the tour they want is more, take me here, take me there, and take a drink and whatever. That's great. I have no problem with that. But I love that feeling when somebody comes out and they go, oh my God, like that is why I started this.
The wow factor on both ends, I would say, because whilst he has traveled a lot, I haven't really traveled that much. So for me, in meeting the foreign guests, I get to learn a lot about their place.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of exchange of information. And then by the end of the trip, we get all these invitations to come visit them. And we fulfilled some of those. It's been really nice to meet with guests when in their home country. It's been nice. So it's a nice exchange of information and being all wowed together. We wow them, they wow us. It's a nice little exchange of energies right there.
And you get it too from the trainees and even local Tobagonians who don't know something. You take them, I never know this thing was here,
Yeah.
Because you get it too from locals, right? But no, it's just a way to take our life and make it into work and also make it into play.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted here. So we will never get super rich doing this because it's not about that. We could work a lot harder and do big groups and big buses, but it's not the vibe.
We do.
We have to do it now and then, right?
But yeah. So like for instance, last year the biggest group we did last year was 180 people, which was the Scouts group of Trinidad and Tobago. So it was majority of them were kids.
That was a nice tour.
but which means it takes even more attention because then you have this huge group of kids. You have to be careful.
You have to make sure you have enough guides and
you have enough guides, you have transport, you have everything lined up for that. So like that's why I say sometimes you do the group tours, depending on the situation and the circumstances, that kind of thing. You know?
The most we've done, like a group, I think, was a wedding of 90 people. We've done a group of 100. We've done a group of 60. But they're all people who know each other.
Yeah.
Right? Our one of our favorite tours is like between 6 and 10 people. We like that.
That is a really nice
that number. That's a fun tour, you know?
The energy is always there. And then, you know, you still get to give the guests your direct attention and, you know, kind of just be there for what it is they need. Whereas you don't have to spread yourself too thin when you have a bigger group. And
the thing is, because it's customized touring, right? Nobody's allowed to join in. So if you're touring with us, you're touring with us. It's just you, right? Okay. We don't have join-ins. Even though if 13 people call for a tour that day, we could say, hey, put everybody on a bus and charge a little less and make more money. No. Okay. Because it's not intimate enough for us.
Yeah. We like to have a connection with guests. Yeah. Which is actually why we also started to incorporate the jurors. We've always provided media content for the guests after their tour, completely. Right. And then,
from the start.
And working along with Alan Charles, one day David's dad was here and he said, you know, I really like how your stuff looking on the journey. I think I want to buy David a journey for his birthday. So last year, he actually decided, he followed through on that promise for David's birthday last year. Dad bought him a drone. When Dad bought him the drone, David looked at the drone. I can't do anything with this.
I don't have the time for that.
I took over. Why did?
And when she said she was going to do it, I was like, you're sure? And she's like, yeah. And then she took it like somebody coming into an office for their first day of work and wanting to do their best. She just took it.
It was,
I was blown away. And, you know,
the first flight obviously was a little bit scary. I flew it in the backyard home by us here. Our backyard opens out onto the beach.
Okay.
So I just kind of took it up and there were trees around. So I'm like looking at the drone. I'm like, please don't crash. Please don't crash. Because this is the first flight I had no insurance on the drone anytime. And, took it up and I'm like, ooh, this is nice. And the remote control also felt very familiar because I grew up playing video games.
Yeah.
So for me, it felt natural to hold that remote control in your hand.
Yeah.
You know?
And so our good friends in Tobago here, you probably know him, Caribbean Maui. He gives us some little instructions and like tells us a few little things, you know, when we meet up and stuff. So
okay. I know. Well, I'm familiar with him. I don't know him. I've never met him, but I know of him. I know we talk on Instagram a couple of times.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Right. Yeah. I actually did mention that we were going to be in the podcast. So he was like, oh, that's so exciting.
I actually invited him on and he said, I would like to more of a behind the camera kind of person. I was like, cool, fair enough, no problem.
Yeah. RL's out. You know, he's a behind the camera guy.
Yeah, but so he's actually who I got my second drone from. So the first drone that David's dad bought, it lasted a month.
Everybody crashes a drone, right?
1 month.
And what kind of drone was it?
It was a DJI Mini 3.
Okay.
So we took it up to one of the waterfalls that we liked. And when I looked up, I lost sight of it in the sun and I was trying to bring it back down between trees. And we were with a couple guests from our villa at the time. And all I heard was Stanley shouted, look how there's a tree. And next thing you know, everyone looked up and watched the drone fall straight into the water. Actually, it fell from the trees, fell on a rock, and then went into the water. And Mr. Hero had dove in and get the drone. And I'm like, it survived. I'm like, no.
But what I got is, everybody crashes their drones, right? Is this a thing when you're learning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a devastation, though.
It is, and getting comfortable. So, I mean, learning on the smaller ones is one thing, and getting comfortable with it before you move up to the more expensive ones.
Yeah.
But it is something that happens, especially with some of the lower end ones that don't have some sensors in it. You don't get that assistance when you're flying, especially when you're new to it.
Right.
Yeah. Especially when you compare them to the big expensive ones that have, 360 obstacle avoidance and can tell you a branch is here from 15 feet away and that kind of thing.
Like those new ones,
really
just need to turn it on. It does everything itself.
Yep.
Is that one of those cyborg ones you have in your picture?
Yes, that is a M350. Yeah, that's an enterprise.
Yeah. Out of space somewhere.
Yeah, so.
But I mean, even knowing that everybody crashes their drone, it doesn't help you feel less devastated when you do crash your drone. Especially for the first time, you're like, and then it took me hours to come down from that. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I crashed my drone. And how is that going to feel? It was so expensive. Oh my God. You go through the emotions of it.
But now she has insurance. So.
Yeah. The second, so when we called Ariel and said, bro, do you happen to have a spare drone that we can buy? I crashed my drone. He's like, yeah, sure. So he's a gadget guy. He's all the guy.
Ariel has I don't know how many drones. He's like,
I've seen his collection.
Yeah. So he provided me with this one. As soon as I got it, I'm like, I am not flying you want to put in Charlie. I got
the new one is what?
Sorry?
The new one is what kind of drone?
Same DJI Mini 3, which I was really happy with because I was now getting really comfortable with flying it. I'm trying to get accustomed with the distance of the image on the screen and knowing how far away from that object it actually is.
Okay. Yeah.
So because then it's Tobago. There are trees everywhere. There's no avoiding it. So the best that I could do, that I can think of right now, is to learn the distance of the image. Once you see it on your screen, you know an approximate distance, how far away from the drone it is, so you can bring it in safely to land.
Yeah, and all that's part of your learning process because I don't think the Mini 3 has obstacle avoidance at all, does it?
It has a slight obstacle avoidance. So if I'm bringing it into land and it senses there is something other than a flat surface underneath, it will not land.
Right. And I think that's one of the major downsides to the lower level drones with DJI. The Mini 4 has it now. That one has 360 obstacle avoidance, but the Mini 2, the Mini 3, I think there's a Mini 3 Pro.
Yes.
I can't remember. But most of them don't, they're reasonable priced, but they don't have some of the safety features like obstacle avoidance, where you find people coming in who would more or less buy those drones would want those features more than the higher level drones.
Most definitely when she feels comfortable, we'll have to upgrade, right? I'll get her one of those things you're talking about. But right now she's loving. but it's good to learn on something without obstacle avoidance. So you don't,
it is.
Rely on it, right? Yeah. So you have to use your skill. And I have some shots in my head I wanted to do. So maybe in a few months, right? Certain places in Tobago I wanted to shoot that I've seen in my discoveries.
Right.
So when she's ready, then we're going to go do those. All right.
So you're the director and she's the camera.
Oh,
for everything. For every single thing. She's the one that gets it all done, the editing, the this. And I just say, babe, we should do this, they do, but she's also a director too. So, she will come and say, look at this. I said, excellent. That's beautiful,
I would have a couple ideas to do. So I don't know if you saw my last post on Instagram to get the entire length of the Mount Irvin beach, go around to the rocks and come back, which is not something I've seen anybody else do. And I'm like, but that would be because when I think about a movie, you see in the movie that there is action of flight. You feel the action when you see the camera going forward. And I wanted to see that. And I have not seen that yet in Tobago. So I did. And on slow motion, the turns are very smooth. But then when you speed it up, you see the little jitters. And David was like, are you sure you want to post this? I said, yeah, because it's going to show, for me at least, it's going to show my beginning stages. And in time to come, my Instagram is going to grow with my skill. You will see the improvements and the changes and how I try from the beginning straight up to current time, the changes and flying smooth, whereas you would more fly in a straight line. Now you're doing so many turns. I wanted to see the progress laid out on Instagram because you would have people now coming on board as well. And they might say, oh, but I can't post this because it has a little glitch and it's not most all. Post it. because that's how you're going to start tracking your record. Because if you keep it in your file folder on your computer, you're not going back in to see it. But if you go on your Instagram page, you're going to scroll down and you're going to be like, I remember doing this. I want to go back and shoot this location,
Yeah.
And then you might have a different idea how you want to shoot it based on the time you did. So that's why you might see a few videos popping up on there that is not exactly the best, but I'm doing it on purpose for two reasons. One, so I can keep track of my improvements on flying, and two, so that anybody else out there, a woman included, of course, who wants to get into drone, they can see, well, it's fine. It's just progress.
Yeah, but
all parts of it, just like crashing your first drone is progress.
But I have to say, your stuff is looking good regardless. Yeah. I have some shots to do, but I need the calm seas to come.
Yeah.
So from here on, you'll be seeing some unique stuff because there's certain things. The seas are too rough now, right? I want to have to do some shots in certain places where I know it'll be beautiful, right? Okay. So once the seas get calm, you'll see some of those coming up.
Actually, I have some tips I could give you to get some smoother shots as well. There's actually a video I was going to create for the channel, and actually now you might give me the inspiration to actually record it and put it out. But there's a setting. There's a setting you could go into called Expo, and Expo basically adjusts the sensitivity of your sticks. So if you find that when you touch it, you get like a very sudden movement, you can adjust the Expo, and then it will basically smoothen out the response to when you press to what the drone does.
It's kind of like, so Ariel showed me this thing called quick shots.
So it's quick shots is like an automated type something.
Right. So
Expo is for manual flight.
Manual flight. Okay.
Yeah. So this one is for manual flight, but it softens the response, or you can actually increase it as well. But most people use it to soften out the response when you press the sticks. So you get a smoother response when you push it.
That is what I want, because you might want to start doing this really nice gradual turn, but like say you're going straight and then they see.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to I want to see it start going smoothly on its own.
Right. So adjusting your Expo will help you smoothen that out. So you have more tolerance of changing direction and that kind of stuff.
So instead of 3 turns, it's one.
It's one beautiful turn.
Yes.
This is what I wanted to get in the last bend, the last big bend in that Mount Irving shot.
Yeah.
But you said it was windy too.
It was a little bit windy. Yeah. And that's another thing I'm learning to kind of work with. I did another shot at the Pichichu Valley. Set up the drone. Wind was perfect. There was little to no wind. And by the time I'm setting up the shot with our guests, in that 2.5 seconds, the wind picked up like that. And the drone started going on its own. I had to keep pulling it back into center. And I'm like, please hurry so that I can start recording and go. But experience. I'm really liking the experience so far. And I wouldn't say I see benefits to it with Iron Girl Tours. I'm seeing contribution towards it because it's adding something else that I love into something we already love. And it's adding to that wholesome feeling of having the images and videos from drone as well as guest experiences. Because now when they come on tour, if I'm there, they're going to get the drone. Whereas before they would have gotten their videos, their pictures, their content, whatever, regardless. But now they have a drone shot from vacation.
And it just changed the dynamic of it. Yeah.
And Anna doesn't come on every tour. There's select ones because she still has to run the office and all that stuff. So I'm the main guy doing the tours. And we have a couple guides that come in to help and stuff.
Okay.
But on those days where work is slow or office is slow, she comes out and
sometimes we
get lucky.
We have repeat guests. We have a lot of repeat guests actually from over the year. And if I know this guest is booking with us, I have to schedule all of my calls, everything, also that, just to make sure that I can do it. Because then the prep before a tour and prep after a tour, I can't do anything after. It's not going to happen.
So one of the things you had asked about, how does it benefit and the social media? The social media has benefit, right? We don't really post tours. Every now and then we'll post a tour, but we just like to post Tobago and the culture and the experiences and the beauty. And every now and then we'll post this guest or a reel about a guest.
Right.
We don't post prices and come and book this tour and blah, blah, blah. We rely on TripAdvisor. when I first started, and guest, actually my very first guest, official guests, two ladies from Ontario. They loved it so much. She went back and set up TripAdvisor for me. Right? She did it, and that's what we've been doing. And because of how we tour and because what we put into it, we have only 5-star reviews, right? And
Nice.
people see that, and that's where we get our bookings, right? People always booking on TripAdvisor, they always seen it, and then they calling us or texting us, right? Because a lot of foreigners, they do their homework, right? They don't just go to a country or island and then figure out what they're doing. They do it before. So when they're doing their planning, most people will go onto TripAdvisor and see what that island or country or wherever has to offer, right? They'll see Island Guild Tours and they'll see the reviews, they'll read it, and they'll say, hey, check out your reviews. We're coming to Tobago, blah, 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 right? So that also, it keeps us in check, right? Because, of course, we want to keep having good reviews because we want to constantly keep giving people the best service ever.
Yeah.
Right. So it just makes me always like, we have one of our mottos here. We have a few, right? Island Girl Tours, where every tour is our first tour, right?
Like it.
Every single tour we do is the exact excitement and energy, right? Because we want the past guests and what they experience and what they wrote. We want guests to keep feeling that, right? And it helps us too because it gives us the reviews and people see it and it's honest and it holds us accountable. There's a lot of people doing tours, but they're not on any review system and they're not on TripAdvisor, Vieta, whatever. If they mess up or they're not attentive or the tour is just not good, nobody knows. I think reviews hold you accountable.
Yep.
So you need to do your best always because you want that to continue because that's how you get your business, right?
Could you book? Sorry.
Yeah.
We actually end up with a lot of our guests.
Okay.
They end up becoming our lifelong friends.
Yeah.
Right.
Have that connection with them before the tour. I have several conversations with guests before the tour. Make sure I plan. I have their allergies, what they want to see, what they want to do, lunch orders, drinks, everything. And the age groups and everything like that to know what is the appropriate places to stop because you wouldn't take an 80-year-old to hike up to another waterfall. You would do another stop accordingly. Especially like a hidden gem store, you want to make sure you have all the information because everybody will have a different fitness level and can do certain things, whereas they may not be able to do other things. So the conversation before the tour helps to build that connection. And then during the tour, look at this handsome face. They all fall in love with it. And then after the tour, the conversations continue. And then we end up with really good friends from all over the world. Yeah. I mean, having that is really good in a sense that when they are talking to their friends, wherever they are from, they just direct them straight to the website.
Yep.
You know, like, listen, I did this tour with this company. It was this, that, and the other. I had so much fun. This is their website. Go check it out. Whenever you're visiting, give them a call, you know, and having them connect their friends from their home countries to us directly on the website without us even knowing is really nice. Because then we just get a call saying, hey, my friend Susie, she taught us you guys last day and she put me onto your website and really like how this store looks. Can I get some more information?
So I would say reviews, referrals, and then social media is still
definitely
okay.
Right? In terms of how
could you book with you guys through your website?
Yes, you can.
You could book through the booking system I had created is actually run by a company in Israel. Book Like a Boss. They're really good, but they use PayPal, so their stuff is very efficient. Guests get notification by text that the tour is upcoming. Blah blah blah. It's like really really well done. I didn't want to leave them. It's probably easier to find another booking system, but we got used to it and it's very efficient, right?
So the reason sorry.
Go ahead.
No, the reason I asked is because you find a lot of persons locally, especially, they have the business on social media, but they don't have a website present, or they just have a website for having our website's sake.
Yeah.
Right.
And one of the questions I wanted to ask is, how, and you kind of answered already, how has that benefited the business or made it more efficient? Because most people think, all I need is an Instagram account and a Facebook account and of course TikTok and you're good to go. And it has been a complaint that I've seen a lot of marketing persons or persons in that space raised with companies in Trinidad. Your website should just be more than have one for having one seat. And you guys have a very good one.
And you are correct, because we are not the best marketers, right? I'll tell you that now. We could be doing so much more, but I prefer, it's easy for me to just show Tobago. It's easy for us, not to use everything as a sales pitch to book a tour,
Right.
Yeah, if you're looking at the Instagram and you're looking at the reviews and you're looking at what people are saying, you'll kind of figure, I should tour with these people, right? And that's what we go on. I have never solicited a tour. I've never walked with a flyer. I've never gone on a beach. I've never stand at the port trying to get somebody out. No, right? Because I wouldn't know how to do a tour like that. Because this person coming in will be a total stranger.
Yep.
Right? We at least, Anna does all the planning, but I still have a call with guests just to hear their voice. Hey, so return tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. When we have a great night and anything special you want, I hear that voice and I hear that person talking to me. I already know what tour to give them, how to do it, right? It's basically the same tour, but how to deliver it, right? That's the sensitivity I have. And I need that to give the best tour that I can. And without in any way being boastful, that's what secured us as the most 5 stars and only 5 stars so far, knock on wood.
Nah, be proud of it. Put it out there.
It's over 508 5 stars on TripAdvisor. That's the most in, I think, around, right? But it's hard work, but it's liberating, lovely work, right? It makes you feel good, right? Showing people, and then a guest call you, hey, you remember me? We toured 3 years ago. I'm like, no, I absolutely. And then when they start talking, you're like, yeah, and remember you dropped the tequila shot on my foot. Oh yeah, I forget. Yeah, what you doing? And you just right back at, yeah, because you can't remember everybody.
Yeah. I'm terrible with names, but faces good, names no. But bringing it back to the drone space, and I know you may not have been in it, for a very long time. But what has been one of your best experiences since picking up the controller?
Oh, so I have to say a flight I did at Indian Bay in Speyside, Tobago. For 2 reasons. One, the weather conditions were really nice. We had really nice hot sun that morning. The colors were just popping. It was beautiful. You saw the reef from all the way up there. You saw the blues of the waters. You saw the greens of the trees. Image was crisp and it was amazing. Add to that, I had really good weather in terms of the wind. Sorry.
Okay.
I didn't have to fight the drone to do anything. So I got to keep zooming in, do a turn, zoom back out. I got to do a few things on there. And I think in any one sitting, that's probably the longest I've flown the drone in any one sitting, because the weather conditions, it was perfect. We didn't have seaweed at the time. And it was just really nice. That was my favorite.
It was nice. I remember it was a nice day.
Mm-hmm.
And is there anything that you would like to see more of for the drone industry locally first and or in the region?
2 things. One, I would like to see more people doing drone out of hobby and not just as a marketing tool. I don't just want to see people doing drone because, hey, it's a side income I could probably do. No, I would like to see people in general just be more creative with their drones as well. So not everyone, but a lot of the times when you see a drone footage, it's because they're using it for marketing and therefore it's a very boring shot. I've seen the same shot several times. I've seen Mount Irving shots of the same thing from different drone operators. Do something creative. Go around a person, do a different flight, do a twist and a turn here. do a shot of the beach that people don't even know exists around the corner. They're showing the main shot of Mount Irvin to get so your viewers have an idea. Oh, this is Mount Irvin Beach because I know that tarpaulin and how it stays and how Alcaba and Grill has their stuff. I know the shot from that view, but I don't know it from around this corner. And that's where I would like to see more drone operators pick people's interest for locations in their shots because they're doing the standard, go into the beach, come out of the beach, go along the beach.
So you're saying there's be more creative?
Yeah, I'm not seeing people really trying to push their boundaries with their flights.
Yeah.
I've seen a few people, in Trinidad and stuff especially, not much into, but in Trinidad, there's some guys doing some incredible things. But they don't you're right. You don't see much movement. You just, basically see a point and shoot, but they do it really elegantly and, and you had said more females.
Definitely. I want to see more females on this because it's something that I found as a woman doing this. When the drone is up there and I'm focused on the screen and what I'm seeing from the drone, it is a sense of expansion way beyond yourself. Because now you are providing an image, not just for yourself, but to your other viewers that this is something that I would like to show someone. And I may not be, let's say, take for example, there's a location you want to go and visit because you want to surround the corner, but it might take some hiking. And you may not be physically able to do the hike. But if you take the drone and you go around on the other peak, you can probably see what's behind there. So it's a way that I would, especially as a woman, being less physically able to do a lot of the hikes that he would do, I could send up the drone and be like, I saw what's up there before you.
Right.
Lappy.
And I guess what you could do too is if it's a place, you could take a look at it and see if it's worth going.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Then I would go to the bush and get to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it's a nice way to showcase a few hidden gems without actually having to climb through. So you have guests sometimes might want to see what it's like before they get there to know if they want to go. And for me, as a woman, to be able to do that without having to actually hike in, get the footage, and come back out.
Yeah, understood. And all right, so I just want to, so we could cut this part out if you want. I just want to ask you, I can't remember, we spoke about it offline about you wanting to create a group for local female drone operators. Is that something that you actively working on? Is this a plan that you would like to?
Right now, it's a thought in my head because I have a lot of things in the pipeline right now trying to just complete this work. And I want to try and map out to start beginning that maybe around August this year, because by then the tourist season would have ended, and at least the foreign ones. And by then I'll be able to have a little more time to schedule that in. My life is a schedule. Everything is around schedule. So I'll have to look at proper timing to do that. And then too, I'm looking at the weather conditions. At that time is a little bit easier to be able to fly because you have less windy times. Because we're coming into Easter. Easter is kite season. Everyone is flying their kite because it's windy.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at that to probably try and form that group in about July, August, thereabouts.
Because we have a couple, they're just not very, up front and center about it. We do have a couple females in the industry. Granted, we could have a lot more. But yes, it is a very male dominated industry. You don't very often see like on video sets or shooting for events. I don't think I've ever seen a female operator on like a set or for an event. So it is something that we could use some more of locally, especially.
And I think you're the perfect one because the drone, fem drone, it ties into what we do. So obviously a social media page had to be created for it because Island Girl Tours and Fem Drone collaborating and stuff. So, more females. We've had females text her, "Oh, Anna, great. This is amazing." And they could see they're happy because they see, oh, here's a woman doing this now, because it's only men they see all the time, right? So who knows? It could inspire, young girls to pick up the drone, or anybody to pick it up, right?
So on that note, you have any advice for any females coming into or watching this and saying, hey, I want to pick up a drone too. No, I watch a drone to buy it, and I just was kind of self-conscious about it. What's your words of advice to them?
Simple, do it. Learn along the way, learn from other people who would have done it before. Definitely go on YouTube and search up drone shots to get some ideas of what you might like to start trying. Mm-hmm. And then look at a lot of complicated movies. Mr. Man here, he's a movie buff, so I get to see all the complicated stuff from like M. Night Shyamalan and Christopher Nolan, those kind of things. So they're complicated movies, but it does provide a visual image that you can probably try doing with a drone or not. And it will help, at least for me, it's helping me to raise my standard of flying and raise the quality and push the boundaries of what I may have only been comfortable with. I might have only been comfortable with a straight flight. But when you see something looking that complicated and you feel like you're in a movie from looking at it, it makes you want to do it. So you give somebody else that perspective. So that would be my advice. Look at those complicated maneuvers and get accustomed to your remote control and just try it in a very open field. Do not do like me and go by the waterfall.
And that's basically the oracle. Just do it.
Just do it.
Right? Just go do it. And but again, that's directing. The flying a drone, you're a director.
Yeah.
Charge there. So I like that she's taking that initiative to figure out things up there. So when I'm ready for she, I tell you, after flying here, go here and turn and come back up so and then go around here. I want that in one straight shot.
That's enough. I'll take my remote like this and like, here you go. No, I'm definitely looking forward to any challenges that come up with drones because I have a lot of interest and I've actually heard that a lot from people. You have too many interests. Settle on one and make that your job. I still can't do it. It's been 20 years. Get over it. I'm not going to settle on one. It's not going to happen. So I do it ahead now. When I get really tired of trying to come up with a new design, I'll switch to sewing. When I get really tired of the machine and going, I'm supposed to, I'll go to drones. When I get really tired of trying to edit this, I want to jump back into Island Girl Tours. And when I'm really tired from there and I need a break, I'm going to start the cycle all over again.
Yep.
So find a way for all of your interests to kind of merge. So then that way, when you get tired of one aspect of it, you work on another aspect of it and just continue with that.
That's something I like it. First of all, you just do it. Sometimes you just need that.
Yeah.
Just get out and do it. And then the advice, to find a way to merge all of your interests in a way that is not just work, but it could be very enjoyable as well.
Oh, definitely. Because when I say, so our tours are very exciting. We do have a lot of guests who are very active on our tours. So just for instance, we had a group of Army guys visit last year.
Yeah. No, couple, 2-3 years ago.
3 years ago. And when he came home from tour, he just couldn't shut up. He was like, these guys were jumping off rocks like crazy. And I'm like, gosh, I wish I was there to get that.
No, it was such fun. And the tour ended up being longer. Yeah. And then friends for life. And then that same person told the US ambassador at the time, last year, oh, you're going to Tobago? You gotta go with David and Anna. And she booked us. And we did the whole family. It was amazing, right? Mm-hmm. On Christmas Eve. Wow. And that same person, he has now booked their return trip to Tobago this April, and the whole posse come back again for more.
That, because I already warned him. I said, listen, this time I'm coming along on the tour for 2 reasons. One, David didn't shut up from your last tour. And 2, because y'all are so crazy, I'm going to get really good content for my drones. Yeah. So, the opportunity presents itself in many ways. And that's kind of how I bring all of my passions together. Because one, I do a lot of takeaway tokens for repeat guests. Sure. So I do my henna art and that, or I incorporate some sewing into it. Now it's going to have the drone. And I'm still doing Island Girl Tour. So that's how I marry all of my interests into one.
I didn't hear husband in any of that.
Oh, come on. One is centerpiece. So Yeah, that is just my thing with the drone and the footage and getting good content, that we always have very active guests on tour, and it adds to the content for drones, for social media, creating that really cool reel and getting people, the viewers, to feel what the guys would have felt on tour. Because when you look at a video of someone jumping over a waterfall, you're like, you feel the exhilaration. And he's good with music too, so he knows what music to match it up to give you that feel.
Yeah. Well, it's just fun. It's just fun. Wherever it goes, but
yeah. Anything we could look forward to from Island Girl Tours and Femme Drone TT for 2025?
Oh, a lot. So Island Girl Tours in Tobago as well as in Trinidad, we do have a really nice secret coming up in the Mayaro side of Trinidad.
Right.
So that is one of our bigger projects right now in the pipeline. And I have started some practice runs filming with the drone to get an idea how I would like to shoot it. And it's exciting. It's fun. I can't wait for everybody to see it. It's very hard for me not to post about it because it's a brand new tour. Plus the content is amazingly beautiful on the drone. And then the whole excitement of launching it is...
Right.
Oh. So yeah, that is one thing you can look forward to in 2025 with a collab between Femme Drone and Island Girl Tours. A lot of content coming out of me.
And also for Island Girl Tours, just pushing the 24-hour on the Roots to Reunion, the Forest Store, and the Hidden Gem Store and Waterfall. So it's been there for years, right? But focus more on it. So I created a Waterfalls of Tobago page where I'm
serious?
Yeah, it's called the Barefooted Bushman, and I'm gonna have.
That's you?
Yeah, yeah. You know that page?
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna show my passion, which is waterfalls. So I'll just not tell people. So I am not an influencer or a content creator in that respect. I'm not going to map out how to get here and talk about it. And you take this trail. No. I'm not into that. I'm just going to show you what Tobago has.
Right.
If you feel like commenting and you call me and say you can handle 3 hours in the bush, you're physically fit, blah, 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 blah. If I know you really have this passion, we go. Because I had a group of guys the other day, and it was just 4 of them that came just to be away from their wives and daughters and sons. So there's this 4 guys, they were neighbors, come together, right? Mm-hmm. Just to be away. And they're like, David, we're coming back here to go in the bush with you and just go and just want to go there and lie down in the bush and go in the forest and go in the water, because they're like that. If you could, the passion to be there was there. So I will take them. But I wouldn't take somebody who was like, well, I walk in the backyard a few times and I did go up to Argyle, but I'm not a real bush person. Nah, never mind. Because it's not for you. You know? So those who are be passionate, I will take. Right? But if it's just somebody see a nice waterfall, oh, I want to go and see that. But how are you at hiking? No, I don't like to hike. No, well.
Yeah. Watch it online.
It wouldn't make any sense, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm going to just show all these waterfalls and leave it as that. You know? Because you see, the weird thing is I know all these waterfalls over the years, but I never recorded them. So now I have to go back and record them after.
Which is the nice benefit, because I haven't been to them. So no, I have to go with them.
Yeah. And now you had to walk with the drone too.
Of course. Well, it depends. Some of the falls I can't. The last one we did was Dayman Falls. And I got a really nice drone shot of that. I can't remember if I sent it to you, but I did post it on stories. It's a drone shot with David sitting in the middle of the waterfall and looking up at the top of the falls. And then you get the perspective of the top of the falls, the pool below, and David in the middle. And we'll see how high the fall actually is.
Oh, and, cool shot.
That was the last waterfall that I
think this is it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see that.
Barely, but I'll put it up on the screen so that the people that are watching the video could see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll send you the picture.
Yeah.
And but just a couple flights that I do get trouble with. One is waterfall. So when I did crash the drone that one time, let's be clear, it's one time. When I crashed the drone, before the drone ended up crashing, I was having a lot of trouble balancing the drone. And at that time, I was thinking it was only the water pressure from the fall hitting the pond below that was probably creating that vortex to push the air, and the air was kind of affecting the drone. It was doing all of it. It was just crazy. It was just doing its own thing. And someone was telling me that maybe the temperature change as well was affecting the flight.
It was Ariel, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could affect the air density.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So, so that is one thing that I am practicing or trying to get some experience with without being detrimental to my drone.
Okay.
Is trying to figure out the right way to film a waterfall and move with it. Because I don't just want to stay here and hover. I want to start from the base and go up, maybe go further in, go up, that kind of thing. That's one thing having with waterfalls. And another thing I have bravely tried, just a little bit, was we have a nice little bonfire setting in the backyard. And our guests who stayed in our Airbnb in December, we did a really nice bonfire for them, set up and cook and everything on the outside. And I wanted a drone shot of that at night. I don't know anybody who stands up their drone at night. I've never seen drone night footage.
But the fire looked good.
It looked amazing, but I did not do excessively for two reasons. One, because I was filming above the bonfire. I don't know how high I had to be before the heat of the bonfire would have started affecting the drone. Mm-hmm. So I just lingered there for 2 seconds and just shot up from there.
Yeah.
And two, it is the night. And whilst you can look down with the drone and see the lighting of the house and the pool and the bonfire, you know where to find it back. I still didn't want to take too much of a chance with only flying for like 2 weeks at the time. Only having started to fly 2 weeks ago at that time. And then I wanted to make sure I don't lose the drone because you can't see at night in the sky. You must have supervision like Superman to do that. So I just did a short flight with that. I will look for that drone footage and send that as well.
We need to put it in a reel too.
Yeah, but it was really an experience, those two, learning to fly around waterfalls and how difficult that can be, as well as drone footage at night. That is something I can add to the list of things I want to see.
For me,
at night.
For me, I find, I've shown Alan a lot of waterfalls in Tobago and stuff. I think he is good at waterfalls. He has a way of doing it, where he knows how to put the drone so the turbulence doesn't get it. I guess it's all experience because he's been doing drone a long time.
Yeah, and he's an excellent photographer. So I've seen his footage is amazing. Some shots that he takes.
So those are my two last pointers on things that I would like to see with drones.
But that's nice, but you'll get it, and you have an experience like with the experiences that you've had with waterfalls. People from Trinidad now would go to Tobago and just take it for granted because they might be a little more comfortable with the drone, but they've never had a waterfall experience with it. So it's all just a matter of the experiences that you have, and you'll get it. You're just practicing it and being cautious about it before you actually just dive into it. Certainly graduating, but you'll get it.
So we had someone from Australia who does documentaries for a living. So he travels with his wife and they make documentaries wherever they're going, and that's their full-time job.
Okay.
And he's comfortable with flying his drone. And we took them to Argyle and he crashed his drone there because it's a waterfall and he has all of this experience, years of experience with flying. But you see, it's not something very many people have experience with. Right? That change in temperatures, the velocity of the wind, the movement of the air around the waterfall. It's very different.
Yep.
No? So definitely I would tell people, even though you might be a professional at flying a drone, that's great. I will test you by a waterfall.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, we gotta send some pilots across you can put them through the paces by the waterfalls.
Oh,
that'll work out for them.
Yes.
Guys, where can people find you? If they want to get in contact with you guys, book a tour, get more information about, Anna, you and the stuff for women in drones, David, Island Girl Tours, where can people get onto you guys?
Well,
we have different forums. Each of them lead back to the same thing, which is our telephone numbers. You want me to call them out for you?
No, we give them the socials and then they could find the telephone numbers from
Okay.
the socials.
So for socials, with Femdrone, it's Femdrone Titi, which is Sky High Anno on Instagram. And for the tours, it's Island Girl Tours TT on Instagram, as well as David Raj posting. That's his full name on Instagram. So you will find it too. But I would also encourage people, especially waterfall lovers, to check out the Barefooted Bushman, which is the waterfalls page, because it highlights a lot of the serene beauty in Tobago and hidden gems in waterfalls.
It's called Waterfalls of Tobago, right? And there's Pixie Henna for her
My
art
hand-
and her, and we have quite a few. We have
We
all
do.
sorts of social media for Tobago showing different aspects of it. Tobago Whispers. I have a philosophy page, but those are the main ones.
Okay.
And then, obviously, www.islandgirltours.com. So they could see the tours, they could book there, or they could WhatsApp or call us at 460-5439.
868 in front of that, if anyone who's far.
Yeah. Okay, you're the down.
Yeah. So the other number they can reach us on is 1-868-332-3683.
Nice. And I'll make sure to put all of that on. I'll make it work, but I'll make sure to have everything on the screen. And I'll put links for it in the description for the video and the audio version of the podcast.
Awesome.
Yeah. Guys, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this episode. Thank you guys for coming on
Thanks a
Thank you for
lot.
having
bro.
and sharing. And I hope everybody that is watching this episode and listening to it, took something away from it. And international, because we do have some international listeners and viewers as well who are looking to come to Trinidad, could contact you guys and get a
Right.
little taste of Tobago.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
sure, man. And good
Thanks
luck
very
to all
much,
your
guys.
endeavors and what you do as well.
Thank you very much.
It's
Take
great,
care,
man.
guys.
Let's see if we could get some female drone pilots.
Most definitely.
We're Stephen.
All right, Alan.
Take care.
Thanks so much. Take care.
Bye-bye.